The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Maxon, and thank you for joining us today for our Journyx for the Staffing Industry demonstration. My plan today is to walk through the application from a time entry standpoint, an approval standpoint, and also from a reporting and payroll export. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about our Journyx for Staffing offer. To actually jump into the actual application, Journyx is a completely web-based time and expense tracking solution. So anybody just needs access to a standard web browser. Everybody has their unique login and password into the application. I'm going to go ahead and log in as somebody that has the ability to track time in the system. So this might be one of your consultants. And the idea here is to make this as simple as possible. It's pretty flexible at how you can configure it. I configured this based on a very common staffing scenario where the consultant might select what client they're working for. In some cases, if they have the ability to track time off, they can track a pay type, which is regular, sick time, vacation, and also billable, non-billable time. The simple process of picking which client, and say I did 8 hours on Monday, and hit save. If they are eligible for time off, we have the ability to allow them to pick something like an admin overhead client or project, which presents them with things like sick day and vacation. You'll notice that when I picked admin overhead, that it defaulted to sick day, vacation, and non-billable. So we'll say we did 8 hours of vacation on Tuesday. I can submit or save that, and then at the end of the time period, let's say if I complete that timesheet, then I can submit that for approval. Now that approval process can go through to sort of a branch manager to approve the timesheet, or that can actually be approved by the client. And there are email notifications that you can turn on that do anything from reminding the contractor to complete their timesheet on time to letting the approver know that something's been submitted for their approval. All of those emails are customizable, and they can all be sent directly from the system. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log out as this end user, and I will go ahead and log in as an administrator so we can take a look at things like approval processes, reporting, and things like that. All right, and just sort of keeping with the workflow of the timesheet process, we have an approval timesheet that we just submitted for approval. So I'll go to my approval section. You'll see that there is one timesheet waiting my approval. Again, there are email notifications that could be sent to the approver to let them know that something's waiting for them. But this is the approval screen, and you can see this has some very basic information, like the employee name, the time period, and the number of hours that have been worked. You can approve or reject the timesheet from this screen, or you can click this period link, which basically gives you a snapshot of the timesheet, and then you can approve or reject the timesheet from this screen as well. But that's pretty much all there is to approving sheets in the system. Then Journyx does have its own reporting engine built into it. Basically, there are a series of standard reports that are shipped with the product, but you do have the ability to create an unlimited number of new reports. To give you an example of one of those types of reports, I've got a detailed hours by date report that I'll go ahead and run. And this basically is just kind of giving me a big data dump of all of the information that's in the system. However, I can modify this report, and I can do anything from picking my date ranges to including specific clients, pay types, bill types, users. And then once I've picked what I want to report on, I can then come down here and filter that information. So let's say I wanted to filter that information and see how much time we spent on certain clients, and maybe within each contract or within each client. I can come down here and save and run that same exact report, but now instead of a big data dump of information, this is sort of giving me a summary of the fact that we spent 106 hours on client 1, and that's broken down by these three individual contractors. But again, this is just an example. You can sort of break this report down in the information that's in the database any way that you wanted to. Any report can export out into an HTML format, a printable format in case you need to stick that to an invoice. or a text format in case you wanted to stick this into Excel. Now, a very common scenario with our staffing customers is that they would want to not only collect this time and have it approved, but also to be able to send that to both their accounting system and their payroll system. So we've got some tools that are built into our staffing offer. One of those is an integration with your payroll system. So in this tool section, I have an example of an export for payroll. This particular export is built upon an ADP format, but we've got some flexibility depending on what your payroll provider is on being able to provide that format for you. In my demo world here, I have my people broken out into two different what we call pay groups. In my example, I've got exempt and non-exempt, but you could customize that to be whatever that your business needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and pick my non-exempt pay group, and I'm going to choose my pay groups. This is going to bring up my weekly time period for this week. I can select that and click the preview button. You can see what it's going to do is it's going to give me a preview of what this export would look like. Again, this is formatted for ADP. So I've got things like the employee ID number, the employee's full name. This is breaking this out into regular time, overtime, and also breaking out that sick and vacation time that we took. And this, again, is coded for ADP. Now, this particular export is based upon a 40-hour work week, where anything over that is overtime. But we also have the ability to support other payroll overtime calculations, including California overtime rules. All right, so in general, the main things that I wanted to cover with you were the simplicity of time entry for your consultants, approving timesheets either by a branch manager or could be a client manager. I wanted to touch briefly on reporting and also on exporting data out of the system for payroll purposes. At this point in time, I want to jump back over to the PowerPoint here and talk to you a little bit about our Journyx offer for staffing organizations. What we're including in this staffing offer, of course, is our Journyx time and expense application, but with what we call an active weekly billing. And where this really benefits the staffing industry is that, of course, there's a lot of turnover within the staffing industry, and so on a monthly basis, we only invoice you for your actual usage of the application. So we don't require you to pay for licenses that you're not going to use as the turnover happens and goes back and forth. We're also offering an integration with your accounting solution, wherever that might be, so that you can bill your customers and potentially do any costing in your accounting system without having to manually enter data into the system. As I mentioned before in the demonstration, we're also offering an integration with your payroll solution. So again, we'll calculate all your overtime if necessary, calculate any leave time, and then be able to create the export file for your payroll solution for you to import directly into that system. Now, in addition to Journyx timesheet and also the two exports, we're partnering up with a company called Aventus. And Aventus has basically a hiring solution that allows you to sort of vet out your candidates based on some profile testing. And we're including that the element as part of this package as well. So that's a little bit about our Journyx for Staffing offer. If anybody has any questions at all, please feel free to contact me. My email address is maxon@journyx.com, or my telephone number here is 512-225-3913. We will also send a recording of this demonstration to everybody that signed up for the presentation. And if anybody, again, has any questions at all, please feel free to contact me, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Other than that, I really appreciate everybody taking the time for us this afternoon, and we hope to speak with you soon. Have a good day.